Everyone has a story to tell. It's my mission to tell it. Unscripted, unedited, we are on the record. Hi everyone, I'm Serena Fazan and welcome to On the Record. You know, here on this show, we love talking about what we can do to help the community, and especially when it comes to children. I'm a mother myself of a beautiful 14-year-old daughter, and children are such blessings. And if we can make their life better, if we can change one child's life, how wonderful. Our world would be more wonderful. Yes. So it is my pleasure to introduce on this show today, Dee Grundel. Did I pronounce that?
You did very well.
That's right, the executive director of Joshua House.
Correct.
Very personal connection, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. And Dina Basiglio Sheridan. Yes, I got the name right. You did. You sit on the board of directors for Joshua House.
That's right.
So what a wonderful organization that was established more than 3 decades ago, or around 3 decades ago. So Dee, why don't we start with you and talk a little bit about Joshua House?
Well, thank you, for starters, for having us on the show today.
Of course, it's my honor and pleasure.
We're excited to be here, and it's so exciting to see you again after our connection regarding Dottie Berger McKinnon, who is a founder of Joshua House. So about 30 years ago, actually about 32 years ago, 6 people used to get together and network with their businesses and discuss how their businesses could make a difference. It was always what's going on above the fold on the paper. And what was happening was we had a lot of mortality for children in the Tampa Bay area. Like in 1 year, I believe 11 children died from abuse in the Tampa Bay area. And that was right about 1989. So they're reading about, one more child that had died from being abused. And the unfortunate part was this child had been returned. That child had been in foster care and had been returned to the mother, and only lasted just a few months before he lost his young life. And here the founders are reading the paper going, well, somebody needs to do something about this. And one of those 6 people said, well, aren't we somebody? So
oh my gosh. I mean, if we just stop and think about that and absorb that statement for 1 minute, oh my goodness.
Yes.
So aren't we that somebody?
Yes.
Powerful.
It is. I think
that's
so.
how it started.
And so there they go. They just take off. And one of them had adopted a child through Children's Home Society of Florida. They all were intimately involved in different areas of business throughout the entire Tampa Bay community. One was a rancher, one owned a tire store. You know, these names people should know. Bob Thomas, we have Olin Mott, Dottie Berger McKinnon, we have Greg Johnson, Lawrence Hall. You know, these were people that are sincere and significant leaders that have made a huge impression on the footprint and the landscape of the Tampa Bay community. But I think the biggest impression they made was building Joshua House and knowing that 3,000 foster children were able to call this home over the next 28 years, and that these 3,000 plus foster children weren't just the foster children that came into foster care. These were significantly traumatized children that needed someplace to go to heal. And that's what they created in Joshua House, was a therapeutic residential
in a safe
home.
Environment.
Yes.
So Dina, let me go to you now. So you sit on the board of directors. There's many boards that we can donate our time to. What drew you to Joshua House?
Well, I had been a part of an organization called Leadership Tampa, and I was surrounded by some really impressive, caring community leaders, and they really inspired me, that program. And one of the people that was in that program reached out to me and said, I feel that you would be perfect for something like this. Now, this was about 12 years ago. I did not have children yet. And I went and met with the board and was blown away by just the caliber of people that were on that board and the work they were doing, because I didn't understand, and I think many people maybe don't, the difference between Joshua House and just a regular foster home. It's that therapeutic care that they need. As Dee said, they are so broken and abused and hurt. and sometimes multiple times over by the time they get to us, that they need more than just a bedroom to go lay their head down in, a safe bedroom. They need more than that. They need help. They need love. They need to feel valued. They need a suitcase for their belongings and not a trash bag, and not being told that they're trash and felt like they are trash. And that's something that Joshua House is different from other foster homes. There are wonderful foster homes out there, but there's a lot of negative too. And that's what happens with some of these children, that they need us. They need a place like Joshua House where they can feel like they're in a neighborhood, a family, a home, a safe place, but they're also able to have care providers right there on site for anything they need. And more than that, we provide them with enrichment opportunities. These kids don't have birthday parties, don't go to movies, bowling alleys. They get to do these things with Joshua House.
And can you imagine for a child, a birthday party, a simple birthday cake means the world to them. They don't understand. So with Joshua House, what is the age range of children that can come in?
Well, it's been totally restored since an incident that occurred in 2020 that we don't need to go into in detail right now, but I can tell you that the age range is usually 6 to 17 years old. And at times, what we feel like is that we're one big middle school. And that is because you're getting children at a turning point in their developmental lives. You know, they're leaving their childhood and going through puberty. And what puberty does is it stirs up an awful lot of anxieties, and certain flashbacks start to occur, especially if a child's endured, significant sexual abuse. There are self-esteem issues that you have to work on, and you have to work through. So many
different types of abuse, sadly. And whether it's alcohol abuse that they're witnessing from their parents, drug abuse, even if their parents are separating, we're talking about domestic violence. I mean, so many horrible things.
There is. And if a child has been abused very early, just seriously in infancy through those toddler years where they're the most vulnerable, you really are doing a lot of cognitive damage to those children that you aren't aware of. You may have a child who's just brilliant and a genius IQ, but if they've been abused, they're dealing with damage that has occurred that, impulse responses are different. They almost have a post-traumatic stress disorder from those early childhood developments. You've got reactive attachment disorders, different things that can occur that you need to help them build the tools to work through this for the rest of their life. Because as they develop relationships, they need them to be healthy, they need them to be strong, and they themselves have to be strong within that relationship so that they themselves don't become a problem.
Right. Or, sadly, right. I mean, the recidivism rate, sadly, for so many, for crimes, especially sex crimes, sadly, 7 times higher than any other type of crime. And I'm not saying that these children would do that, but we have to focus on their mind and build their mind. But speaking of that, so the show is unedited, unscripted, and I love the fact that it's a conversation. Do either of you have any type of psychological background at all, by any chance?
Neither one of us.
We have a lot of love background, though. So, but let me ask you this. The reason why I asked that question is because of this, because I'm not a psychologist either, but I've covered a lot of stories in my career and a lot of background in journalism. You would hope that, of course, we can help these kids and we can help get them at a great mental state. Do you feel that is possible? But what does it take? I mean, years and years of therapy, but is it possible?
Absolutely. It's absolutely possible. I don't even know how to tell you how you can measure success for foster children, because number one, I think their greatest success is their resilience. The fact that they just bounce back from one disappointment after another. And don't think that just because they get into foster care and it's safe and they're now in a safe environment, that it is safe. It's not. Foster care is a very complex place for a child to have to be. They are totally disenfranchised from any choices that they get to make regarding their life. They're moved so often, they don't go to the same schools. They're constantly having to restart. just
Yes.
restart again and again and again. And they begin to kind of shut down those little areas and keep like this laser focus. And what you need them to do is broaden their horizons. So I think some of the most beautiful things are the little successes that we achieve. You know, when you hear laughter on the playground instead of tears, you know, when they take their clothes out of their garbage bag and put it in a drawer.
And it's folded nicely.
And they're
proud of it.
They're making a commitment to something. When they forge a relationship with another adult and begin to hug and turn to that person and start telling them their concerns and their fears, those are all significant milestones for a foster child.
And that's what we should celebrate. Let me ask Dina just really quickly, because you said 12 years ago when you decided to work with this organization, you had not had kids at this point. How many children do you have now?
I have 2, 4 and 8 years old.
Oh my gosh, congratulations on that. You know, so now that you have kids and you see, and Didi, I'm sure you have kids too as well.
Nope.
You have all these kids.
She has all the kids.
She has all the kids. She has all the kids. She has all the kids.
The whole community of
She has
kids.
the whole community of kids. So with your own children, and you see that, and then now you're continuing to volunteer, has that changed your mindset?
100%. And Didi, I don't know if she notices, but during the board meetings, I am in tears for many of them because we get reports about where the children came from, the abuses that had happened to them before, and even sometimes things that we are having to deal with at Joshua House, like child trafficking and scary things that we have to protect our own children at Joshua House from these people who want to drive up to our gates and have to try to abduct our kids.
You are kidding me.
No, this is
is
a real thing. And it really came to a head a few years ago, and
That was really bad.
it was horrible. I mean, literally we had our staff grabbing children and pulling them back from these traffickers who know exactly the amount of time that they can take a child and abuse them before they can be reported, before the police are called. They drop them back off, re-abuse. And we've done everything we can, and you know, this is a different topic for a different day because it's a huge topic. But we were able to, thanks to Didi and their amazing staff, you know, get it under control.
Sexual trafficking,
Yes.
the average age of a child that's been sexually trafficked is 12 years old. But out of all of the children in the United States that have been sexually trafficked, 70% of them come from foster care. And that isn't because foster care is selling their children to sexual traffickers. It's because these children are vulnerable, that they have low self-esteem. They can easily be lured. You know, they run away because they're disappointed in life. They don't understand why their parents would choose drugs over them. So there's so many things that make them extremely vulnerable. So if you think about sexually trafficked children, 70% coming from foster care, then yeah, a place, pretty much it's like
A place who takes care of foster children, of course, would be somewhere where they would go.
that they would focus on, you know, how do we infiltrate this? How do we reach them? So are your schools, so are your malls, so are your everything. So just as parents, just be diligent, pay attention, and don't you ever dare think that your child's electronic device isn't yours to snoop through. Snoop.
Snoop as
people.
much as you
Snoop
want.
as much
Yes.
as you can, as often as you can, because you know, you gotta just prevent your child from becoming a victim. And the only way to do that is to be the parent. You don't have to be their buddy.
Be their parent. You know, it's we're going to go to a break in just a moment, but you know, at the beginning of the show when I was talking about how On the Record and the network here at CP Communications and Red House Streaming, we really do try to focus on the community, show how we can help, and we did do 2 one-hour specials on human trafficking.
Great.
We had panels, and so I would encourage people to find those shows. Of course, they're out there on Roku, on our 24/7 digital channel, but very important issues. And we have so much more to talk about. I want to talk about your big event coming up, and also the special connection to Dottie Berger McKinnon.
Yes.
Absolutely. Stay with us, guys. We'll be back in just a moment.
You use maps for travel, but did you know there's mapping for your skin? It's called Visia Skin Analysis.
Above average, that's pretty good.
Here's why I used it at South Tampa Dermatology. It scans your skin for sun damage and wrinkles. You can see how your skin compares with others in your age group. Why is this important?
So here's what we'll do.
It can target a treatment program to meet your needs and save your skin over time. Another reason why I rely on the dream team at South Tampa Dermatology.
Precision Garage Store, this is Sophia. How may I help you?
It's the people who work here that make the difference.
That's what we're all here for, teamwork, right?
Exactly, yeah.
That's why we're here for you today.
With one purpose:
If you need us, Precision is here for you.
to give their best to our customers.
We put out love and we get like 10 times back.
You get it coming back too.
Yeah.
We work for you. So thank you, Tampa Bay, for year after year making Precision Garage Door a top workplace.
Labelswap is a retail store that you can bring in the items you don't want anymore. We will buy them for either a cash offer or store credit, and you can also shop the items as well. We carry anything from H&M, Lululemon, up to your luxury items like Gucci and Louis Vuitton. There's nothing really around like it here in the market. It is a fun, personalized experience.
Welcome back, everyone. We are talking about Joshua House, a wonderful organization in the Tampa Bay area community that helps foster children. Dee Dee, it's so great to have you. Dina, wonderful to have you as we continue this very important conversation. So coming up this week is a major event. Dina, can you hold up that book?
Absolutely.
So, oh my gosh, so the author of Three Little Words, Ashley Rhodes Quarter, like a quarter, is the guest note, is the keynote speaker.
Correct.
And she's from here.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so-
she is.
So tell us, like, you picked up, and it's a New York Times.
It's a
bestseller?
New York Times bestseller. Yes, it's called Three Little Words, a memoir. And I just read this book in 2 days over the weekend. I could not put it down. Tragic, heartbreaking, but so inspiring because she really overcame a lot to become a success. And she wrote this book about her journey to adoption, which I think she wasn't adopted till she was 12, and she was in 14 different foster placements through that time. Just absolutely heartbreaking.
And Dee Dee said when we were talking about it, because I was reading the back of the book right before the show, and I said, wow, like so sad, 14 foster homes. And then Dee Dee said, well, that really isn't that much sometimes, or that many sometimes, sadly.
It is tremendous for a child, but it's not unusual in the foster care system. The average amount of times a child can move in a year is 6.
Wow.
So in a 2-year period, a child could be in what would be 12 homes. If that child demonstrates the need for therapy because they have complex traumas, there's behaviors that mean that they move many more times, anywhere from 24 and up. And that's just, every time you're just,
Every single time, starting all over again.
you're just re-traumatizing them
Right.
more and more.
You have to
and
retrust
more.
again. I mean, you know, even if retrust is a word, trust somebody again, open up your heart again. And you know, it's hard enough as an adult to do that. So just to think of little children trying to
Right.
do that
When
and
you-
craving love.
When you see this little 10-year-old that drags, you know, a little backpack behind them into a house, and they put it down and they just kind of look over and go, so what are the rules?
Right. I mean, and wondering why doesn't my mom or dad want me, or why aren't I with my parents? You know, I mean, it's just thinking about it again is heartbreaking. But what is inspiring, on the same note, are so many people who are trying to help make things better, including Ashley. And she, actually, they're working on a major motion picture, I heard.
That's what we're hearing too. We're so excited. And when I read this book, of course, I thought 3 little words, I love you, because her mother did say that to her, and she was always hopeful that her mother would come back. And in fact, in her case, her mother was a young mother. She was born at 17. When she was 17 years old, that's when Ashley was born. And it was more of just a couldn't care for her type of thing. The mother always loved her, and she always loved her mother. And so the three little words, and I think it really does speak to a lot of these children's experiences, and what you all were just talking about is they're so let down over and over and over again that by the time she found an amazing family that wanted her, when the judge finally asked her, and it was a local judge here, asked her, do you want to be adopted? She said, I guess so.
And those are the three little words. I mean, my gosh.
I mean, I get chills just thinking about it.
I guess so. Oh my gosh. I know, because immediately you would think three little words. Of course they would be, I love you. But I guess so. And then she does find a home, though, and builds herself up.
Yes.
Thanks to this family, and is able to now share her story in hopes of helping others.
And not only that, she not only shared her story, but she was very precocious and known to be very smart, an early talker, all of that. And she utilized that to, as she was transitioning out of foster care and knew she had a family, she was fighting for all the children that she knew. She actually went on as an advocate and thought about civil lawsuits and class actions against these particularly horrible set of foster parents that she was with that were very abusive and hot sauce down these children's throats. And
oh my gosh, hot sauce down children's throats?
Yes, and making them stand and crouch under tables and not touch the table and not touch the floor for 20 minutes, 2 hours, things like that happened over and over with these. And this is a foster family. This isn't what we have at Joshua House. This is where I'm showing you is a difference. There's wonderful foster families. This was a terrible one. And she was able to pull herself up and say, how can I help other kids that are still experiencing this? And she fought back and did depositions and filed lawsuits on her behalf, on her brother's behalf, and on these other children's behalf as much as she could possibly do. It's a really incredible story.
And it's, because, and you mentioned it, Tina, of course there are so many wonderful foster families. And I do want to point that out because there are so many wonderful people out there that are devoted and dedicated to helping children. But then again, we do see the negative stories as well. And books like this, women like Ashley, the two of you, so children know that they do have a voice, that there is someone to go to. I think that is such a key. And so I want to go back to the very beginning of the show when I said, talking about a personal connection. So Dottie Berger McKinnon, who's one of the founders who you mentioned,
Yes.
I was so close to her, amazed by her. And what I said at the beginning of the show is her quote: if you can help one child, imagine how wonderful the world would be. When she sadly passed away in October of 2013, it was the only time I openly cried on the air.
Wow.
She is just, what do you think she would say today about the progress and how you guys are building?
Well, I think that Dottie felt like she made one mistake in her life. And that's a beautiful thing, to be able to say you made one mistake. But Dottie was a very precise and dedicated, focused individual. She served our community as a county commissioner, etc. But one of the things that they did with Joshua House was they gifted it to another charitable organization, because these are 6 business people with their own careers to run and their own families. And it wasn't like they wanted to build this huge shelter and have to run it. They wanted to pull in an expert to do that. So they gifted Joshua House to another charity and signed it all over to them with no real gift agreement. And throughout the years, this particular charity kind of, made their position known, that they didn't necessarily need the founders' opinions on how they were running Joshua House. Well, that's not how the founders felt.
No, it goes back to what you said at the very beginning of the show, that we are the people that can make the difference.
We really are, and that they were the ones that put blood, sweat, and tears into everything, including every tree that's planted on that property. So we honor that. But what happened was a rift occurred, and so the founders went on to create their own charitable organization called Friends of Joshua House Foundation. They pulled me in. I was not kicking and screaming. I was happy to go. My mother was raised in foster care. My sister was raised in foster care. I know that it can save children. So I was happy to go in that direction.
So your own mother and sister were raised in foster care.
Yes, my mother gave birth to my sister when she was 14 years old.
Isn't that something?
in foster care. And so then my sister was adopted, ended up back in foster care. My mother continued in and out of foster care 9 times, and they both shared 9 of the same homes, but not at the same time. So she never got to see her baby again.
Oh my gosh.
It broke her heart. But our sister found us when she was 43 years old, and literally I watched this huge hole in my mother's heart just heal.
That is a
reunified.
story in itself. So
But
she found you guys.
she did. But that's not the story of our unification.
Yes.
It's Dottie. Dottie was a force to be reckoned with. She truly was. She was a force of nature. She was a hurricane Cat 5.
I know. I truly love her.
Coming at you. But she did it with such grace, and she was a lady in all things that she ever did. And I think that the one most important thing for her right now is to know that our board of directors took a leap of faith and they saved Joshua House, and they regained it from that charity that it was gifted to, and now we are operating Joshua House independently.
Doesn't that give you goosebumps though? I mean, honestly.
I want to cry
Yeah,
thinking
yes.
about it. It
It's
was a
amazing.
journey.
And-
It was a journey.
And I know that healed that huge hole in Dottie's heart, where she felt like, why didn't we just keep control over this and have faith in themselves to do it?
But now you are. So how can people help? What can people do?
We are 100% funded by the community. We don't receive funding from the child welfare system, from the state, the government. We literally receive funding from every little individual donor. If it's $5, $50,000, $2.625 million to get us out of debt from buying Joshua House back from the other agency, so on and so forth. We rely on the community to help put the pillows under the heads, the shoes on the feet, the suitcases in the closet, everything
comes from the community.
Yeah, from bananas to bookcases.
No, but that's good for the community to know, because we do have so many wonderful people who do want to help, and there's so many choices on who you can help. And I'm sure there are people that are watching and listening. This could be resonating with them, so you never know. So with the event coming up on Friday, are there still seats available, or is that one sold out?
We have sold out, which is wonderful, but it is annual. It's every single year. And it is our biggest event it's our biggest fundraiser for Joshua House, and it's one of the biggest child abuse awareness benefits in the area. And we focus on awareness because we really want people to understand it's an inspirational thing. You come and have lunch, but you're going to be inspired, and hopefully you can help us in some small way. So yes, it is sold out this year, but it's every April, and we will promote it next year too. So hopefully more new faces can join us.
Right, because April is Child Abuse
Awareness
Prevention
Month. Yeah.
So yeah, we would love to prevent it. If I thought that as a society we could do that, that would be beautiful. But Dina is co-chairing this with Marshall Slayton, and they have come up with a great theme. It's Be the Rainbow. We're asking your audience, anybody who picks up on this feed and watches this stream show any time of the year, you can make a difference. It doesn't have to be just in April. It can be any time of the year, and you can go to donatejoshua.com. You can go to our website, friendsatjoshuahouse.org. You can text I am worthy to 44321. There's so many ways to give, but your sweat equity, your time, just teaching your children how to be safe. Being good parents is another way to support Joshua House.
100%. And you guys reached out to us. You reached out to me to be on the show, and that's what I appreciate so much. I love when the community reaches out and says, will you please do a show on our organization, or will you please help get the message out? I can't even tell you what an honor that was. Thank you so much for us to help. Speaking of that, we always encourage people. We have a graphic that will come up that you can reach out to us. A personal story, a love story, a business story, a nonprofit story. Please send it to us, and once again, you might be on the show. And then we'd also encourage you to share this story. I'm on multiple social media platforms, and I think that is very important so we can get the positive message out. We're also on Roku. We're on Roku, and we have a 24/7 digital streaming channel. So,
And I'm more thrilled about that than you can know because I just got a Roku TV.
yay! So it's Serena Fazan Network, and it's a free channel.
Yay!
So cool.
Anything you either of you would like to add in closing?
We're very grateful to be here. And if you do think you want to help volunteer, just call Joshua House. Dee Dee might answer the phone. Nancy might answer the phone. It's a small but dedicated crew, but that's literally how to get involved. Just call us or find us on the web.
We can all make a difference.
Yes, we
all make a
can.
difference. And hopefully we're going to have Ashley on the show.
I'm
for sure.
so excited.
3 little words. 3
awesome.
little words. I guess so. Thanks again so much, guys, for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, everybody.